Hey there, thank you for joining me. Today I'm discussing if you should take a lower GS position to get your foot in the door. If you're new here, please click subscribe. Now let's get started. All right, so I've read many conversations online about whether a person should compromise and accept a lower GS position so that they can enter the federal government. And then once they're on the inside, they can try to move around or apply to different positions. And this is typically said because it's thought of as an easier way to get in. And when I say compromise, I mean a person with the skills and experience of, let's say, a GS 14 takes a job that is a GS 6 or a GS 7. My first thought to this mindset is no, no, absolutely not. Do not do that. Why would you do that? Now, before I explain to you why I believe this is a bad idea, there is one reason why this could be a good move. The only reason I think that this decision would be a good move is if you are restricted to one specific geographical area, meaning that you can't move for whatever reason. Maybe you have a family and responsibilities in an area that does not offer many job opportunities. A lot of people find themselves stuck in a small town and they refuse to leave that town for whatever reason. If you're in that type of situation, then I would say yes. You should absolutely take whatever job you can get to include a lower level GS job. However, if you are currently in or have the ability to move to a bigger city such as Washington, D.C., Chicago, Philadelphia, or Tampa, for example, then you should have a lot of job opportunities available. And you should apply for what fits your experience and skills. Now, I've seen people with over 20 years in the military with valuable skill sets that accept a GS 9, and it baffles me. Let me give you an example to help understand what you're giving up by doing this. An E7, or a sergeant first class in the Army who exits the military in Tampa Bay, Florida, and he decides he needs to start all over again. Instead of applying for the GS 12 position, he applies for the GS 7 because of the false belief that he needs to start all over again. Well, right out of the gate, this person's making $36,000 a year less than he could have been making, and he's roughly 3 years behind. Doing some rough calculations, that E7 is easily out of $108,000 in just 3 years. How would you feel leaving that much money on the table? Not only that, but this person now has GS 7 on his resume. So that is what most employers are going to think when they look at his resume. They're going to match his experience and abilities to a GS 7. For the most part, if he applies to another job after a year or so, he'll only be able to move up to a GS 9. Now, there is a way around this if you use hiring preferences. So, back to the example, you could be putting yourself way behind and leaving a lot of money on the table if you decide to take a lower GS grade just because you believe you have to. You do not have to. The way to prevent this mistake is to carefully craft your resume, understand your experiences and abilities, and look to see how that translates into value. Also, look at job announcements that interest you and determine if you believe you are qualified for those positions. This is relatively easy to do. There's a qualifications section on each job announcement, so you can look through it. It's about a paragraph long or so. Read through it and see if you fit that criteria. Now, in my experience, when I was transitioning, I asked a lot of veterans and federal employees to tell me about their experience. This was a way to get an understanding on what my GS level would be. It also helps to have a mentor in the area. If you do not have a mentor, well, that's a mistake. Check out my video on how to find a mentor. Well, that wraps up my video on should you take a lower GS grade to get your foot in the door. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.